Okay, Callie, it's really a pleasure to talk to you and to have you in this show. We've known each other a long time, and it's thrilling to be working with you both on Cafe and on the Solstice Show. And I love this piece in particular. I know that you think I have a different interpretation of it than you intended. But I would just like to tell you why I think it reminds me or makes me think of women repairing the earth. Because I know you see it differently, but the fact that this shape is actually a circular shape, I just think it's poignant and beautiful and touching. So do you want to talk about what your interpretation of it is so that people can see that artists' work sometimes elicit responses they may not have anticipated?
Absolutely. And that was the thing, when I heard your interpretation, I fell in love with it. I was like, that's so beautiful. And I feel like I always want to make things that have enough richness that people's interpretations can flower in it. And so so I was thrilled when I heard that. And for me, the thing that it made me think of is a concept called Tikkun Olam, I think is what it's called. And it's like within Judaism, and it's this concept that we repair the piece of the net that's like closest to us. And so that's what I thought of.
Tikkun Olam. Tikkun Olam.
Yes, I always have loved that concept. So that's what made me think of when you talked about sort of repairing the earth and how so the drawing itself is a friend of mine, and I was sort of inspired by Vermeer's Lace Maker. I just saw her sewing and I was like, oh God, there she is. She's the lace maker. And so I started to draw her. But then of course the question of, what image is she working on? In one of the sort of little point of overlay that I found between this idea that she's repairing the earth is that, and the connection with how this project started, is that right within the center of the image, you see a skeleton and it's a little hidden. And then to the side of it, there's an Eve character and she's pulling the apple. And the reason I saw an old etching, and it showed a skeleton at the center of the sort of garden of knowledge, and I had this sense of that old story, as being about a recognition of our own mortality. And so thinking about if we could, as human beings, get more comfortable with recognizing our mortality and accept that as part of the process of life, I think we wouldn't be in such a crisis of destroying the environment the way we are, because we would feel ourselves within the cycles. And so I really felt that was a kind of a natural connection with your body of work that started this whole project.
Well, Kelly, you can't see it, but your work, this drawing hangs right across from an Italian artist, and there is a shadow figure in his work as well. You don't know if it's feline or human, but it's also a kind of shadow image that is behind this veil. And all of his work is done with natural materials. And so like blueberries, and he stains work. But I think it would be good if we talked a minute about Create Art for Earth so people understood the relationship of the Solstice Show. Why don't you talk a little bit about it?
So, you and I, like you said, have known each other for a while and have been thinking about, what are the ways that we could connect. And I know that you were, in the middle of this process of kind of understanding death and extinction, and got this inspiration to start the project. And I think, because I'm somebody that also has worked on a lot of very collaborative projects, it seemed like kind of a natural fit to say, like, how can we rally different parts of our community and our team like into this effort. And so you reached out to me. I was totally excited. And so we've been kind of working together with a group of people, with you and Jane Fonda and Hans Ulrich Obrist and the National Museum of Women in the Arts and Greenpeace, and trying to sort of essentially grow a movement. within sort of circles of movements that are already happening. And so for me, the project has been about kind of taking a moment to consciously relink my creative process to all of the activist work I've ever done, and all of my sort of current thoughts and fears about